Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside will be mild today with a high of 59.3 degrees and a low of 42.0 degrees Fahrenheit, so you might want to keep a jacket handy. Coming up, we'll examine the significant changes in immigration and customs enforcement operations under Trump's latest policies. We'll also investigate the story behind a California senator who maintained her influential position despite facing serious corruption claims. Plus, we'll explore how a relatively small investment in artificial intelligence by a Chinese tech company has caused major waves throughout Silicon Valley. All this and more ahead on Alex's News. Stay with us. We begin this morning with significant changes to immigration enforcement in the first week of Donald Trump's second presidency. Joining us to discuss these developments is our political correspondent, Ethan Martinez. Ethan, what can you tell us about these new policies?
Grace, according to extensive reporting from the Associated Press, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, has undergone a dramatic transformation in its enforcement approach. The agency is now operating under two fundamental principles: the worst go first, and nobody gets a free pass anymore.
Can you break down what these principles mean in practical terms?
Certainly. As Yahoo News reports, ICE officers can now conduct what are called collateral arrests, meaning they can detain any undocumented immigrants they encounter during their operations, even if those individuals weren't the original targets. Additionally, previous restrictions on enforcement at sensitive locations like schools, churches, and hospitals have been lifted.
We're hearing about significant changes in daily arrest numbers. What are the statistics showing?
The numbers are striking, Grace. According to U.S. News & World Report, during the Biden administration, ICE averaged about 311 arrests per day. Now, that number has skyrocketed to between 956 and 1,179 daily arrests, more than triple the previous rate.
Can you give us a specific example of how these new policies are being implemented?
Yes, the Associated Press recently documented an operation in Maryland that really illustrates this new approach. ICE officers arrested 13 people in total. 9 were their intended targets, while 4 were collateral arrests. The targeted individuals were wanted for serious crimes including homicide, armed robbery, possession of child sexual abuse material, and various drug and gun convictions.
How is this being coordinated at the federal level?
According to reporting from Rising Nepal Daily, the Justice Department has taken a more active role in immigration enforcement. Matt Elliston, who heads ICE's Baltimore field office, emphasizes that while operations remain targeted rather than random, their enforcement capabilities have expanded significantly. There's now increased coordination between various federal agencies to implement these new policies.
Thank you, Ethan, for that comprehensive overview. This is certainly a story we'll continue to follow closely. And that's story 1 of 3 this morning. We turn now to a developing story in California state politics. Joining us to discuss a controversial reappointment in the state Senate is our political correspondent, Chloe Martinez. Chloe, tell us about this decision that's raising some eyebrows in Sacramento.
Thanks, Grace. According to Cal Matters, California Senate President pro tempore Mike McGuire made waves yesterday by reappointing Senator Susan Rubio as chair of the Insurance Committee, despite her being under scrutiny in connection with a federal corruption investigation.
What's notable about the timing of this reappointment?
Well, this position had been conspicuously left vacant when McGuire announced committee assignments earlier this month on January 3rd. The delay in filling this role had sparked considerable speculation in political circles.
And what can you tell us about the corruption investigation that's casting a shadow over this appointment?
The investigation stems from Senator Rubio's previous role on the Baldwin Park City Council, where she served from 2013 to 2018. Federal documents mention a person 20 inches who allegedly solicited $240,000 in bribes from a cannabis company and accepted $30,000 in illegal campaign contributions. While Rubio has denied accepting any bribes, she hasn't explicitly denied being person 20.
Has anyone else been implicated in this broader investigation?
Yes, Grace. Several officials have already faced consequences. The former Baldwin Park City attorney, Robert Tafoya, has pleaded guilty to federal bribery and tax evasion charges. Additionally, former council member Ricardo Pacheco entered a plea agreement in 2020 for soliciting bribes from marijuana businesses. There's also Edgar Cisneros, a former Commerce City manager, who admitted to providing $45,000 in bribes to Pacheco.
What's Senator Rubio's defense in all of this?
Her office maintains she's not a target in the government's investigation, and no formal charges have been filed against her. They've pointed to her voting record, which shows she actually voted against approving at least one cannabis business during her time on the council.
And how is Pro Tempore McGuire explaining his decision to reappoint her?
McGuire says he waited to receive additional information from the U.S. Attorney's Office before making his decision. He's emphasized that no case has been filed against Rubio, and he's expressed confidence in her experience, particularly regarding the challenges facing California's insurance market.
Thank you, Chloe, for that comprehensive report. That was our political correspondent Chloe Martinez with story 2 of 3 this morning. Here are some other headlines. In a concerning trend, ADHD diagnoses among U.S. adults have surged by 15% between 2020 and 2023, while teen diagnoses remain stable. Medical experts attribute this rise to reduced stigma, improved healthcare access, and better understanding of the condition. Currently, over half of diagnosed adults use medication, with projections showing 8.11 million Americans expected to use stimulant medications by 2025. In Serbia, the Prime Minister has stepped down amid growing anti-corruption protests. The resignation comes as demonstrators demand greater transparency and accountability in government institutions, marking a significant response to public pressure for reform. A Canadian prime ministerial candidate has outlined a strategic plan to counter potential Trump tariffs, promising to target vulnerable U.S. sectors that would feel significant economic impact from Canadian retaliation. Alaska House members are pushing back against former President Trump's suggestion to rename Denali. The mountain, North America's highest peak, was officially changed from Mount McKinley to its traditional native name, Denali, in 2015. Alaska's Republican senators and House members strongly support maintaining the indigenous name, which means the High One, in the Koyukon Athabascan language. In publishing news, Dark Horse Comics has severed ties with author Neil Gaiman following multiple allegations of sexual abuse. The acclaimed writer of The Sandman and American Gods faces accusations from several women, including claims detailed in a Tortoise Media podcast and a New York Magazine article. While Gaiman denies all allegations, major publishers including HarperCollins and W.W. Norton have distanced themselves from the author. New Zealand police have confirmed an ongoing investigation into the matter. We turn now to a story that's sending shockwaves through the tech industry. Our technology correspondent Ethan Thompson is here to discuss the meteoric rise of a Chinese AI startup that's disrupting the global tech landscape. Ethan, tell us about DeepSeek.
Thanks, Grace. According to the New York Times, DeepSeek, founded in 2023 in Hangzhou, China, has achieved something remarkable. Their AI chatbot has become the most downloaded free app on Apple's U.S. App Store. The company, owned by the quantitative stock trading firm High Flyer, was established by entrepreneur Liang Wenfeng.
What's particularly striking about this company's development?
Well, Grace, the BBC reports that DeepSeek claims to have developed their AI model for just $5.6 million, which is absolutely staggering when you compare it to OpenAI's reported $5 billion spending in 2024. This announcement has had massive market implications.
Speaking of market impact, what exactly are we seeing?
The market reaction has been unprecedented. NVIDIA, the leading AI chip manufacturer, experienced a historic $600 billion market value drop, a 17% stock plunge that's being reported as the largest single drop in U.S. stock market history.
How is DeepSeek achieving these results with such limited resources?
According to Yahoo Finance, they're using their AI models called DeepSeek-V3 and R1, which they claim match OpenAI's ChatGPT capabilities. Interestingly, they're using lower performance NVIDIA H800 chips that aren't banned in China, effectively finding a workaround to U.S. export controls on AI semiconductors.
What's the reaction been from industry leaders?
The BBC reports that venture capitalist Mark Andreessen has called this AI's Sputnik moment, while analyst Gene Munster described it as a flex by China and a black eye for U.S. tech. Even OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman has acknowledged DeepSeek as impressive.
Are there any concerns about these claims?
Yes, Grace, there are significant questions about verification. Multiple sources indicate that DeepSeek's reported development costs haven't been independently verified. There's speculation about potential underreporting of resources, especially considering their parent company Highflyer's existing infrastructure. The New York Times also reports that they've been actively recruiting young AI researchers with high salaries and promising research opportunities.
Thank you for that comprehensive report, Ethan. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on this developing story. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King, with Claude Sonnet 3.5, the Perplexity API, and the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech API. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.